Welcome. We're glad to be with you on this beautiful Easter Sunday. This is the second Easter that we've been online, live. And so today we're going to talk about ideas from the Science of Mind magazine, which if you haven't purchased yours, you can purchase it at Books A Million, and or online at Centers for Spiritual Living. It is a wonderful magazine with some fabulous writers, and when you spend time with it each day, you get to dive a little bit deeper into how to maintain spiritual principles and spiritual way of living in your life. So we're going to begin by sharing some of the reading and then talking about it. It begins by saying, Easter, a celebration of life. What a joyous time of year to claim your freedom. Freedom from what, you ask? Freedom from all your doubts and fears. Freedom from your own limiting illusions about who you are and what you are here to do. Freedom from the blocks around your heart that keep you from giving and receiving all the love you've come into physical form to experience. Now is the perfect time to relinquish it all, because it's Easter, and Easter is about that idea of new birth, that idea of celebrating life itself. And so freedom is commonly a theme for this time of year, because it's an opportunity for each one of us to look more closely within our own lives and how things are showing up in our lives, and what it is for us that we are ready to release, and so that we can embrace the new and wonderful.
Yeah, the Bible says, "Behold, I make all things new." And it's the idea that Easter is an opportunity to move into the greater aspect of life, move away from the limitations that we see around us, and recognize that there's something greater, something bigger, something more infinite that we can attach ourselves to or be one with. And so therefore Easter gives us the opportunity to move into greater expression of who we are and what we are, and recognize our divine essence. We actually move into the expression of our divinity, not just our humanity. And so we kind of recognize the death of the human self, or the limitation, through limitation, and we move past that. We expand beyond that idea of our physical form and realize there's something much greater to us than that. In fact, that physical part of us is so small and limiting compared to the infinite realm of wholeness. And so Ernest Holmes says the resurrection is the death of the belief that we are separated from God. For death is to the illusion alone and not to reality. The death is a limitation coming to its final end, but it's not the reality of who we are, because we are infinite beings. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. Anything that is physical, anything that is in form will eventually come to an end, because that's what form is beginning and ending. And but this is a recognition of our greater self, and so there is no death. There is no death in God, and so there can be no death in us as well.
Yes, and I love that idea that resurrection is the death of the belief that
Yes.
we are separate from. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that release allows us to step more fully into our freedom. And so those were the quotes at the top of the magazine, and the next paragraph goes like this. All the thoughts and beliefs you've held about yourself, that you are not good enough or worthy of a great life, can be dissolved in an instant. As David said before, believe, behold, I make all things new. And so in every given opportunity, we have the wisdom, we have the ability to tap into the divine through our own thinking, to tap into that divine and to know our worthiness, to know release from any sense of lack, limitation, and fear, and to step into the freedom of life itself. At every moment, we are free to ask ourselves within, what is mine to do in this moment?
One of the greatest error thinkings that we carry on in life in this human form is recognizing or feeling that we're not good enough or not worthy of a great life. And as Deborah said, we need to attach ourselves, but we also need to remember that we are one with the one life of the universe. We are one with it. It is us. And so therefore there is no separation. The idea of connecting to it or aligning ourselves or whatever is still our limited thinking, our human separation. And we need to recognize the truth that we are it. It is us. There is no separation. And so, behold, I make all things new means I am moving constantly and progressing and growing and expanding my awareness of who I am and the recognition that I am one with all divinity.
Yes. And there's nothing egotistical about that. That statement isn't about an ego. It's about a truth of life. And so I often encounter people who can easily say that the mountains and the ocean and the stars and the moon and the sky and the beauty of nature and life and the planets and the design that holds them in place and beyond into the galaxies. Oh yeah, that's all God. But they have difficult time when it comes to freeing themselves up to realize, well, you are not separate from that. You are that. You are a piece of the beauty and glory of all that is.
The reason that we could recognize that beauty and that magnificence in nature and in life is because we literally recognize, we rethink it, we see ourselves as part of it. And if that were not so, we were not part of it, we would not be able to recognize it. So therefore, by recognition of that truth, we are placing ourselves within that realm of all that is. And so therefore we can see the greatness and the magnificence of all that. And by seeing that, we can very easily just turn around and look at ourselves and say, yes, that is true of me as well.
Very easily. Not as easy for some, more easily, and different times in our life, right? Like sometimes it's really easy to say that, and other times it's like, okay, I gotta work on this a little bit here because I know it's the truth, but it doesn't appear to be right now in this moment. So the writing goes on to say, how much longer do you want to keep telling yourself the same negative story about your life? How much more time do you want to waste bemoaning your situation instead of experiencing the heaven on earth you have come here to experience? You know, this story of Easter is used with a main character called Jesus. And Jesus knew that truth about himself. And Jesus claimed that for himself and for us. Jesus was the most wonderful way shower of how to live and how to accept ourselves as one with all that is.
He constantly said, all these things I have done, you will do, and even greater, which means that I am nothing but an example of how to live. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the exception. He was the example of how to live. And so he was showing us opportunities beyond our recognition, current recognition in our human existence. The article says that in the letting go of all the negativity, a new and glorious life awaits you. You deserve to be happy and filled with joy. When in faith and trust you move into the flow of the divine, it supports and sustains you in ways unimagined.
Yes, the power of the universal energy of wholeness and perfection is a fabulous, fabulous thing to accept and to experience freedom in. And you know, no one can do that for you. It's something that each one of us has to do for ourselves. We have to take a deep dive within and clean house and let go of any ideas that are limiting and any ideas that are fear-based, and step into ideas that are of God, that are of the quality that God is, the self-givingness of life unto itself. The article continues, "We did not come here in physical form to suffer. We are here to experience joy, peace, and love. Don't waste another day." A great example has already been set by the greatest teacher of all. It is time to resurrect yourself from the darkness into the light.
So let go of the negative essence of who you are and totally embody the truth of who you are, the magnificence, the light, the beauty, the purity, the wholeness, the divinity of who you are.
And may you know a very happy Easter season.